Chapter 7. Our Leaders Speak. This chapter is comprised of various statements taken from the Journals of Discourses, teachings of Brigham Young, teachings of the Prophet Joseph Smith, etc. Happiness is the object and design of our existence, and will be the end thereof, if we pursue the path that leads to it, and this path is virtue, uprightness, faithfulness, holiness, and keeping all the commandments of God. But we cannot keep all the commandments without first knowing them, and we cannot expect to know all, or more than we know, unless we comply with or keep those we have already received. That which is wrong under one circumstance, may be, and often is, right under another. God said, "Thou shalt not kill." At another time he said, "Thou shalt utterly destroy." This is the principle on which the government of heaven is conducted by revelation, adapted to the circumstances in which the children of the kingdom are placed. Whatever God requires is right, no matter what it is, although we may not see the reason thereof till long after the events transpire. But in obedience there is joy and peace unspotted, unalloyed, and as God has designed our happiness and the happiness of all his creatures, he never will institute an ordinance or give a commandment to his people that is not calculated in its nature to promote that happiness which he has designed, and which will not end in the greatest amount of good and glory to those who become the recipients of his law and ordinances. Blessings offered but rejected are no longer blessings, but become like the talent hid in the earth by the wicked and slothful servant. The profit good returns to the giver, the blessing is bestowed on those who will receive and occupy. For unto him that hath shall be given, and he shall have abundantly, but unto him that hath not or will not receive, shall be taken away that which he hath, or might have had. Our Heavenly Father is more liberal in his views, and boundless in his mercies and blessings, than we are ready to believe or receive, and, at the same time, is more terrible to the workers of iniquity, more awful in the executions of his punishments, and more ready to detect every false way, than we are apt to suppose him to be. He will be inquired of by his children. He says, "Ask and ye shall receive, seek and ye shall find. But, if you will take that which is not your own, or which I have not given you, you shall be rewarded according to your deeds. But no good thing will I withhold from them who walk uprightly before me, and do my will in all things, who will listen to my voice, and to the voice of my servant whom I have sent. For I delight in those who seek diligently to know my precepts, and abide by the law of my kingdom, for all things shall be made known unto them in mine own due time, and in the end they shall have joy." History of the Church, p. 135-36. Be kind to your children and diligently teach them the right and the good way, and when your daughters have grown up, and wish to marry, let them have their choice in a husband, if they know what their choice is. But if they should happen only to guess at it, and marry the wrong man, why let them try again, and if they do not get in the right place the second time, let them try again. That is the way I should do with my daughters, and it is the way I have already done. Teachings of BYP 292. It is not the boys that are after Gentile women, but the Mormon girls are after Gentile men. The Mormon boys never think of looking outside this church for wives. Teachings of by p. 293. If my daughter wished to marry a good man of 70 years of age, and he had 70 wives, I should not think of withholding my consent. Teachings of BYP 293. I will tell you that some of the most noble spirits are waiting with the Father to this day to come forth through the right channel, and the right kind of men and women. HCKJD 5:92. A great many women are more nice than wise. If they can get a man with a pretty face, they think it is all there is about it. HCKJD 4:277. Suppose she has no love, no attachment, can she expect the affection of her husband? Can a graft grow to a tree unless its nature is congenial to that of the tree in which it is grafted? HCKJD 4:277. Some women will marry a man one day, and call for a divorce the next. They are playing with the things of God, and are sealing their own damnation. HCKJD 4:277. Is there any man living outside of this church who will have a claim upon his wife on the other side of the veil? No. Why? Because in all their marriages, no matter by what church or denomination they are celebrated, the ceremony distinctly states "UNTIL, death do you part." JTJD 24:228. But those who are married by the power and authority of the priesthood in this life, and continue without committing the sin against the Holy Ghost, will continue to increase and have children in the celestial glory. TPJS, p. 301. Handsome men are not apt to be wise and strong-minded men, but the strength of a strong-minded man will generally create coarse features, like the rough, strong bough of the oak. TPJS, p. 299. I do not think there have been many good men on the earth since the days of Adam, but there was one good man, and his name was Jesus. TPJS, p. 303. It is natural for females to have feelings of charity and benevolence. TPJS, p. 226. You need not be teasing your husbands because of their deeds, but let the weight of your innocence, kindness and affection be felt, which is more mighty than a millstone hung about the neck. TPJS, p. 227. When a man is borne down with trouble, when he is perplexed with care and difficulty, if he can meet a smile instead of an argument or a murmur, if he can meet with mildness, it will calm down his soul and soothe his feelings. When the mind is going to despair, it needs a solace of affection and kindness. TPJS, p. 228. Don't envy the finery and fleeting show of sinners, for they are in a miserable situation, but as far as you can, have mercy on them. TPJS, p. 229. Who are better qualified to administer than our faithful and zealous sisters, whose hearts are full of faith, tenderness, sympathy and compassion? No one. TPJS, p. 229. There are a great many wise men and women too in our midst who are too wise to be taught, therefore they must die in their ignorance, and in the resurrection they will find their mistake. TPJS, p. 309. One thing is very true and we believe it, and that is that a woman is the glory of the man, but she was not made to be worshipped by him. As the scriptures say, man is not without the woman, neither is woman without the man in the Lord. By J.D. 8:62. You ought to love a woman only so far as she adorns the doctrine you profess. By J.D. 3:360. It is not my general practice to counsel the sisters to disobey their husbands, but my counsel is obey your husbands, and I am sanguine and most emphatic on that subject. But I never counseled a woman to follow her husband to the devil. By J.D. 1:77. Mothers, remember that when your husbands are engaged in the service of the church, and are all the time occupied in the duties of the priesthood, so that they have not time to instruct their children, the duty devolves upon you. By J.D. 2:21. Is it not a blessing to you, mothers, to raise up prophets and apostles, men filled with the glory of God, to go forth and extend the work of our God? J.D. 8:92. Fathers, mothers, brothers and sisters are no more to me than are any other persons, unless they embrace this work. By J.D. 8:199. Teach your children from the youth, never to see their hearts immoderately upon an object of this world. By J.D. 3:357. Parents should never drive their children, but lead them along, giving them knowledge as their minds are prepared to receive it. Chastening may be necessary betimes, but parents should govern their children by faith farther than by the rod, leading them kindly by good example into all truth and holiness. By J.D. 12:174. Children need directing and teaching what is right in a kind, affectionate manner. By J.D. 8:74. It is an old saying that a woman can throw out of the window with a spoon as fast as a man can throw into the door with a shovel, but a good housekeeper will be saving and economical, and teach her children to be good housekeepers, and how to take care of everything that is put in their charge. By J.D. 12:195. Continue in the spirit of meekness, and beware of pride. Let thy soul delight in thy husband, and the glory which shall come upon him. Keep my commandments continually, and a crown of righteousness thou shalt receive. And except thou do this, where I am you cannot come. D&C 25:14-15. Woman's influence is all-powerful. A woman can influence a man to almost anything if she knows how to proceed. She can lead him to the lowest depths of degradation, or to the grandest heights of noble deeds. She can cause a man to forsake his principles and those things which he knows to be right and do what he knows to be wrong, and what he would do under no other circumstances, while on the other hand she can, by her influence and efforts, cause a man to rise step by step from the low places into which he has fallen, till he is capable of the noblest things. Celia A. Smith, Young Women's Journal 4:281. It is the duty of the man to follow Christ, and it is the duty of the woman to follow the man in Christ, not out of him. But has not a woman the same volition that the man has? Can she not follow or disobey the man as he can follow or disobey Christ? Certainly she can, she is responsible for her acts, and must answer for them. She is endowed with intelligence and judgment, and will stand upon her own merits as much so as the man. J. F. Smith J.D. 16:247. It is written in the first book of Moses, concerning matrimony, God created a man and a woman, and blessed them. Now, although this sentence was chiefly spoken of human creatures, yet we may apply it to all the creatures of the world, to the fowls of the air, the fish in the waters, and the beasts of the field, wherein we find a male and a female consorting together, engendering and increasing. In all things God has placed before our eyes the state of matrimony. We have its image, also, even in the trees and earth. M. Luther Table Talk p. 297. Maternity is a glorious thing, since all mankind have been conceived, born, and nourished of women. All human laws should encourage the multiplication of families. M. Luther Table Talks p. 298. The Turks, however, are of the opinion that 'tis no uncommon thing for a virgin to bear a child. I would by no means introduce this belief into my family. M. Luther Table Talks p. 299. 'Tis a grand thing for a married pair to live in perfect union, but the devil rarely permits this. When they are apart, they cannot endure the separation, and when they are together, they cannot endure the always seeing one another. Married people must assiduously pray against these assaults of the devil. M. Luther Table Talks p. 301. There is no power that can separate a virtuous man and woman, who have been united by the power of the holy priesthood. No power can do it, they must do it themselves if done at all. These ties that bind us together will endure through time and all eternity. G.Q. Canon J.D. 26:253. Be ye not unequally yoked together with unbelievers, for what fellowship hath righteousness with unrighteousness? And what communion hath light with darkness? 2 Cor. 6:14. There is no evil in love, but there is much evil resulting from the want of love. No woman should be united in marriage with a man unless she has some love for him, and if she loves him in a small degree, this is capable of being increased to perfection. O Pratt COP 154. If I were a lady, I should be careful whom I married. I should want to be pretty sure that the man tried to live his religion as revealed to us. Young folks generally marry because they love, sometimes because they are pretty. It is said that beauty is only skin deep, and I believe it is so. It will shortly fade away. We should be reasonable on this subject, as well as on others, but when a person is love-struck, there is no reason in them. We should never be struck very bad. We should love so that we could throw him off at any time if he does not do right. J. Taylor J.D. 19:167. Our daughters should seek, by all the faith that they can exercise before God, to obtain good husbands who will build them up, instead of holding them down, who will strengthen their hands in the work of God, who will make them mothers of a righteous seed and posterity, with whom they can rejoice in the eternal mansions of our Father and our God. G.Q. Canon J.D. 25:369. It is the character that is in the man's house, the spirit that is in the man, it is the spirit that is in the woman and in the house that makes the woman, and that makes the man. By J.D. 5:92. Those who attain to the blessing of the first or celestial resurrection will be pure and holy, and perfect in body. Every man and woman that reaches to this unspeakable attainment will be as beautiful as the angels that surround the throne of God. If you can, by faithfulness in this life, obtain the right to come up in the morning of the resurrection, you need entertain no fears that the wife will be dissatisfied with her husband, or the husband with the wife. By J.D. 10:24. Young men, fit you up a little log cabin, if it is not more than 10 feet square, and then get you a bird to put in your little cage. You can then work all day with satisfaction to your self, considering that you have a home to go to, and a loving heart to welcome you. By J.D. 12:204. But the whole subject of the marriage relation is not in my reach, nor in any other man's reach on this earth. In fact, it is the thread which runs from the beginning to the end of the holy gospel of salvation, of the gospel of the Son of God. It is from eternity to eternity. By J.D. 2:90. There is no ecclesiastical law that you know anything about to free a wife from a man to whom she has been sealed, if he honors his priesthood. By J.D. 8:345. How is it with you sisters? Do you distinguish between a man of God and a man of the world? It is one of the strangest things that happens in my existence, to think that any man or woman can love a being that will not receive the truth of heaven. By J.D. 8:199. This is the reason why the doctrine of plurality of wives was revealed, that the noble spirits which are waiting for tabernacles might be brought forth. By J.D. 456. Let the father be the head of the family, the master of his own household, and let him treat them as an angel would treat them. By J.D. 455. Now let me say to the first presidency, to the apostles, to all the bishops in Israel, and to every quorum, and especially to those who are presiding officers, set that example before your wives and your children, before your neighbors in this people, that you can say, follow me, as I follow Christ. When we do this, all is right, and our consciences are clear. By J.D. 15:229. Let the husband and father learn to bend his will to the will of his God, and then instruct his wives and children in this lesson of self-government by his example, as well as by precept, by J.D. 9:256. And then it is not enough for men to be married to wives, and be sealed according to the order of God, they must treat them aright when they have them, they must treat them as they would treat angels of God, they must be full of kindness and mercy and long-suffering, they must provide for them and make them happy and comfortable, and take care of the families they have by them. And in this way gain the favor of God, and the respect of all honorable men. JD 24:231. It is saddening to note the frequency of divorces in the land, and the growing inclination to look upon children as an encumbrance, instead of as a precious heritage from the Lord. These evils should not gain a foothold among the people of God, and you, my sisters, as members of the Relief Society and as mothers in Israel, should exercise all your influence against them, and in favor of pure motherhood and faithfulness to the marriage covenant. Lorenzo Snow, JHP 5, July 9, 1901. Hence, it has always been considered, among all intelligent and right-thinking people in the nations, both in a social and political capacity, that it is in the interests of humanity that the marital relations should be sustained, that virtue and chastity should be preserved, and that in proportion as these principles are disregarded, has the elevation or degradation of the race been manifested. Gospel Kingdom p. 3-4, John Taylor.